Welcome to Sew Lunchables. I'm your sewing Sherpa Shauna, and today we're going to do a demo on the rolled hem foot. And I've lost all my good reading glasses, so I've got these little puppies. I'm going to be doing a lot of looking over the top. So this here is a rolled hem foot. It's actually a micro rolled hem foot, and it's got just a little like funnel in here that feeds your fabric through. So anyways, before we get going on this, I'm going to show you what a micro rolled hem looks like. And I'll just use some regular cotton fabric here. So a micro rolled hem is just a teeny tiny hem at the bottom of, usually you use it at the bottom of knit fabrics or lightweight chiffons or something. And you can do it by just turning your fabric super tiny as you can. Oftentimes, if I'm doing it by hand, I'll use my straight stitch foot. I've got my all-purpose on right now, and so it's kind of tricky to get it to turn super small and hold it into place. I've had many years of experience, so I'm going to make this look easy. And also I'm using a quilter's cotton, which kind of behaves. But this is a micro rolled hem by hand. So you can see it's rolled twice, and the final product is just a teeny tiny hem along the edge of the fabric. So the idea behind the micro rolled hem, and you can get these rolled hem feet with variable depths. Like this one, I would say is like 1/8 of an inch, maybe less. But you can get them all the way up to 1/2 inch. The larger it is, the harder it is to handle, if you ask me. But so pop that on, and if I let the needle go down, it's going to hit the foot, which is not good. You actually want the needle to be lined up right with the right edge of the micro rolled hem. So I'm going to switch my width until I've got it lined up where I think it's going to work. I think that's it. So I'm going to get a fresh edge on this same fabric, and to start with, you need to tuck it in and get it rolling, and that's the hardest part, if you ask me. I'll sometimes go, see how I'm going behind the foot, and I'm going to pull it up into the roll. Come on, you can do it. And then I'll go backwards. I have to say, I haven't used a home sewing micro rolled hem foot forever. I just use the industrial ones. And all right, so I've got it in there somewhat. So I'm going to capture it while I've got it partially in there. So sometimes I have to start a little bit further on. And now, if you'll notice, this foot should be turning, and it's not. It's just turning it one time. I want it to turn it twice. So I'm going to start encouraging it to turn a second time. There we go. So now I've got it turning a second time. And let's see if I got my needle in the right spot. Oh, notice I'm tipping. Instead of tipping, I'm going to move the machine over so I'm not tipping. I'm sewing straight. All right. So it took me about 3 inches to get it going. But now that I've got it going, I'm going to come down like maybe a good hand width away, and I'm just going to encourage this to go through. And this is kind of like how you would hem the edge of a scarf, or the edge of, you could use this to hem the edges of some napkins or something. So I'm coming up here we're crossing the hem. So where I did the hand one and where I'm getting, just so you can see what happens. So I have to let go. Of course, I can't hold in there anymore. I mean, I brought some tweezers so I can hold for a certain amount of time, but you'll notice sometimes the ends get a little bit wonky because you can't really control like what happens at the very end, and you're crossing another hem there. But there's options. You can unpick and do some fun stuff. But here I have got some silk charmeuse, and this is very, very drapey, and I cut kind of a circular hem in it, and so you can see that this is one of the best ways to do, say, a chiffon or a silk hem, because the foot handles lightweight fabric so beautifully. See that? How perfect that is? And it's totally effortless. I'm just kind of guiding it. I have to say that with the curved hems, when you get on certain biases, the rolled hem foot starts putting up a fuss. Like, it doesn't roll the fabric as nicely as it does on different grains. And so you have to kind of learn how to handle it. See right here, I'm kind of curving, and you'll see that some parts are popping out. So there's a lot of things you have to learn about handling and understanding how that roll is happening inside this funnel. I feel like sometimes if I come at it at an angle and pull slightly, that it rolls it better. But it's not it's not actually doing it better. So there, you have to spend a little bit of time with each fabric when you're using this rolled hem foot to figure out like exactly how you need to handle it and how it'll go through the foot. So prepare to have, like, you know, a yard or two of the edge. Now, one of the problems with a rolled hem is that, I'm gonna show you real quick here. So my dad called and asked me this. He was gonna do a rolled hem on something. I was like, Dad, that's not gonna work. I mean, it's a nice thought, but it's not gonna work because of this. So I'm going to sew just a 1/2 inch seam here, and pop my rolled hem foot on and show you how impossible it is to. So he was talking about sewing up the hem of his jeans. He had just done something, and I was like, you know, you can use a rolled hem on the straight part, but once you get to a seam allowance, that seam allowance, the seam is not going to roll through the rolled hem foot. It's going to get stuck. So you can only do straight, long pieces of fabric that don't have seams in them. And another thing is that these micro rolled hems do not handle heavy fabric very well. And just watch it handle this fabric really well. Just be like, whatever. It usually doesn't. All right. Come on. So the thicker fabrics don't usually work so great. Roll in. There, so it's kind of hanging up. Oh, because it's in stitch 3. I'm lucky I'm not even breaking my needle. All right. You're sewing Sherpa Shauna. It's on a sewing adventure right now. There. So is it rolling it? Off and on. All right, we're gonna get to this hem here, or this, not hem, but this seam. And it actually handled it a lot better than I thought it would. But as you can see, it's kind of a mess. It like loses its brain over the seam. So if I'm doing like, say, a really big circular chiffon skirt or something enormous where you've got like thousands of yards of circles to go around, this roll hem is a lifesaver. Every time you get to a seam, I will do my best to get it to turn and look good. But if it doesn't, I just go back to that seam and unpick that little bit and then do it by hand. So, so that's it with some heavy fabric. It actually did a lot better with this heavy fabric than I thought it would, because I put it in under here and I expect it to be kind of janky, but then look, it turned it. It's really nice. So let's do it with a little piece of sloppy knit. So a sloppy knit is another place where it might be fun to do a rolled hem, but here's your challenge. Knits roll to the right side when you stretch them, which is why you don't really want to stretch your knit, because usually you want to hem it to the other side and then you have to deal with that silly rolled situation. So we want it to roll to the wrong side, so we're going to have to struggle with the knit's natural character of spinning to the up. Okay, so first of all, you got to get it to get up in that roll. And then I'm just not going to care about what it looks like right here. I just want it to anchor. And if you notice, I'm not using pins with this because you can't use pins with a micro rolled hem. You can't even get a pin into the hem. It's so narrow, right? All right, there we go. I got it in the funnel. And let's see what the funnel's doing. Come on, funnel. I'm gonna have a little bit of a longer stitch. This is driving me bananas. Well, I don't like the position of my needle either. I think I'm gonna move it a little bit further over. There. Rolled hems are funny because you have to kind of like do this weird thing with your hands and your arms. You can get really tense. You got to really watch your posture when you're sewing, because it's easy to get all wound up and spun out and you give yourself shoulder and hand aches. All right, so that's far enough. Let's see what happened with this. So for a little while it did a really good job, so that is the fact that it did a good job for that length of time means that it could do a good job for the entire length. You just have to practice, and I haven't practiced. So anyhow, we don't have anybody on today, so I'm not going to ask if you have any questions, because you don't have any questions. But if you have any questions, feel free to text or email or call or whatever. And like I said, they come in, these rolled hems come in, feet come in lots of different widths, so you can do, I would say, safely up to about 1/2 inch on a home sewing machine. And you do want to have lots of practice material. So I hope you all have a happy and safe 4th of July. That's happening this week, right? Great. All right, happy 4th of July, and we'll see you next Monday.